So again, thank you everyone for joining our live Q&A call. We do this every Sunday just to have an opportunity to get to know everyone, share information about the cruise, and just to have a place so we can all connect. Today, we're going to be talking about more of what's all entailed in this journey to the Nile River that we're taking. We're going to get into the itinerary again, because there's some new folks on the call who weren't here last week. We're also going to talk about some things that you should be doing right now as guests in terms of checking in for your cruise event. And before we get started, I want to just take the time to, admit Demetrius to the call. And let's get him in. And Demetrius, I'll make you a co-host. And we have another person. For those who may not know, I am Jackie Zepherin. I've had the pleasure of speaking with a lot of you already. Thank you again for joining. I've been one of the producers on the event. And here to my left is
Stan Zeff. Glad to be on the call. Glad that you're all interested or already coming on the cruise. It's going to be an amazing time in Egypt. It's going to be the first time for some of you. So we've been to Egypt a few times, just vacationing and also just organizing everything for the cruise and having sailed down the Nile. It's a memorable time going down the Nile, and especially with all the history involved in it, and with music as well. So it's going to be a really exceptional time that we're going to have. So looking forward to everyone coming.
Was there someone who had a question? There's someone by the name of iPhone.
Oh, that's me. My name is Yvette Feinberg. I was invited by Leslie Jones.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get the information because I'm trying to join the trip. So I'm sorry, I'm on the West Coast right now, and it's a 3-hour time difference, and just trying to get the times together. That's why I'm late coming in. But I have been speaking with
no problem.
I have been speaking with Tony. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have a conversation with her. We finally got it together. Going to have a conversation with her and picking the rooms and things to see if I'm going to be able to join you.
Okay. I hope you can. I hope you can make it.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
And in fact, we're going to change your name so that it shows up with your name. Right now it just says iPhone. But someone will change.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, you don't have to worry about it. Thank you for joining. Like I said, if there are other people who may be interested, I've put the Zoom information into the chat. Feel free to share that with anyone you may be interested in going, or just have questions.
Okay.
This is the place to have them join. So you've come to the right place. If you love house music, if you love to travel, if Egypt has been one of those places on your bucket list, you've come to the right place. We're super excited to get you all there. If you haven't already booked, as you mentioned, Yvette, there is financing available. Working with our travel agent, Tony Winston. You also have the option to break your payments into 2 payments, because payments are due on September 15th. So if you book now before August 15th, you're basically splitting your payments into 2. And then, of course, there's the financing. That's an option. So for those who may not know, we've partnered with Uplift Financing, which can offer you a financing loan for up to 2 years on your payments. And so that could be as low as $96 a month. We actually have someone booked on the cruise who was approved for that financing. So, I mean, you could be sailing down the Nile River for $96 a month. If cash is a space right now that you don't want to spend your money, you could just go through the financing process. So if you are interested in that, please go ahead, contact Tony Winston. We'll drop her email address in the chat as well. And you can get that process started, and you can get your entire trip financed. So that would include your flights. It can include, if you want to do additional excursions, that also includes things like if you want to stay a little bit longer in Egypt and travel around, or, go to Spain or Morocco or whatever.
Does it include clothes?
It does not include clothes. That's a very good question. It only includes travel logistical things. Okay. So like your transportation, your flights, of course, your ticket to the Tambor Cruise, and that sort of thing.
The good thing about it as well is you can pay off whenever you want. You don't have to wait 2 years. You can pay off early with no additional costs or fees. A couple of people got their hands
Yeah,
up.
we got a couple of questions. Leslie, I saw your hand go up first.
Yes. Does it also include your deposit?
So
when you go ahead.
if you've already paid your deposit, it will not. Okay, it will only cover your unpaid or new expenses.
Okay, I'm actually speaking for my sister Renee.
Okay.
So when you go on and you register, it's
Mhm.
asking for, of course, half of the payment.
Mhm.
But you're going to finance it. How does that work?
Speak to Tony.
Yeah, so there's two parts to that. So there's one part where you have to have a ticket before you can finance, right? Because let me clear my screen just a second. Apologize. So you have to actually have a ticket to the cruise in order to finance. All right. So, and I say that because if you are approved for financing, Tony will go in immediately and book your flights, book your, your travel, book, whatever extra hotels you need. You can, at that point, go in and book your ticket. Okay. But you at least need to know what the costs are, right? If you wait to get your reservation, right, and you go through financing and you haven't gotten a reservation, we can't guarantee you a seat, if that makes sense, Leslie. Right. So essentially, we could give you a quote of what it's going to cost, right? And you factor that in for the financing, but we can't guarantee you a seat.
Okay, so when
financing has gone through.
Mhm.
So when you go through the booking process to register, it asks you to, of course, make a payment. So is there a way that you can register and get a ticket without making a payment because you're going to try to finance it?
Yes, that's what I was just mentioning. Okay, let's talk about it offline, but essentially what we would do is just give you a quote of what it would cost.
Okay, got it.
The person could essentially, you can go through the platform and select all of your accommodations, but not pay, right?
Right.
So that you can get
Get
that
the cost.
quote or the cost, right? And feed that into the financing process.
Got it, got it.
Right. But let's say, 20 people come and book tomorrow, right, before the financing completes. I can't guarantee you a seat.
Got it.
Okay. And we can talk more about it offline.
Okay.
Okay. And then Raheem, you also had a question?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I booked on the 10th of August. So I did the payment plan through the website.
Yes.
But it's giving me my last payment is due October 10th.
Yes.
I know you said the last payment is due September. So how's that? Which one is it?
So I have an email out to you. We have to update our payment plan schedule every month. So that it will accommodate all payments being in by September 15th. And it was overlooked for this month. So, you know, that's our fault. The payments are still due. So the payments are still due by September 15th. So what I'll have to do for you, Raheem, is basically recreate your reservation so that it lands on September 15th, right? Which would mean you'd have to pay more upfront because it would be 2 payments and not 3 payments.
So is that so? All right. So I'm confused because I made my finances available to go by that payment plan. So am I going to be penalized for the company's error, or are y'all going to accommodate me?
We will not be able to accommodate you through October 15th. So it was a misstep on our part to update the payment schedule, okay? But the payments are still due on September 15th. So what I will have to do is recreate your reservation so that it shows a payment for September and one for August. Essentially, if you're saying that you won't be able to join the cruise, if you have to reduce those payments to 2 instead of 3, let's talk about that offline.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll take a note to follow up with you. Was there another question? No other questions?
Hi, this is Ayana. This is not a question per se, and I'm brand new to the live conversations, and I'm sorry my face is not showing, but I'm very interested, and I'm already going to be on the continent. So I'm already going to be in Ghana a couple of days before the cruise, the Tambor Cruise. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to get from Ghana I was supposed to fly back to Atlanta on the 19th, but instead of doing that, my spirit feels like should try to make this work.
Okay.
So, you know,
Here,
and I've been interested. Yeah. And I've been interested for years. So it's just feeling like I should try to make this work. But now that I'm seeing that there's some payment options also available, knowing I'm gonna be stretched all throughout October, it wasn't really a question, just I definitely would like to have Tony's information and just to see what payment plans or installments might look like for me, or longer term financing.
Okay. I posted Tony's information in the chat, Ayana, and I can also follow up with you offline.
That would be great, because I don't want to distract everybody else. So do you want me to put my email address maybe in the chat, or?
Yes, that's fine. In the meantime, you can do 2 things. You can send an email to our support mailbox at tamborcruise.com. And I'm putting that in the chat as well. And also on our website, we talk about the financing. So if you go to tamborcruise.com, there's a tab at the top called Ways to Pay.
Okay.
And it goes into detail about the financing. All right.
Okay.
Because with the one thing we need to mention with the financing, you have to have your full itinerary plan in terms of the cost of all of your expenses before you can do the financing itself. The process only takes 15 minutes. It's a soft credit check, but you have to come to the table with, you know, your flights, and the flight information you need to be able to log in and pay for those flights. Of course, the Tambor Cruise ticket, and any other, you know, additional items that you may have. So you have to feed that as input into the financing process. So it's not like you go and apply for $5,000 and then spend it, you know, however you desire. You have to come to the table with firm expenses, itemized expenses. So it requires a little bit of prep work, but we can talk more about that offline. And like I said, if you go to the website and look at that tab called Ways to Pay, okay.
Tony's information is on there.
Yeah, it's also on there, and I put it on the chat as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
There's one more in the chat that I saw come through from Serenity, and she asked about recommendations on attire. Our next call next week is going to talk about preparing for the journey. So there are two parts. There's one part, just preparing for the culture and weather of Egypt in terms of how you dress. And then there's also the themes that we're going to have for the Tambor party. So if you want to get your outfits together, we'll have some more insight on that next week. Okay. So
Hey, Jackie,
hey,
I'm so sorry. This is Sheila.
how you doing?
I can't find the raise hand button. I just saw thumbs up, so I didn't want to do
That's
that one.
okay.
But I do have a question around the technology. When I registered
Mhm.
on the platform, it asked me to put my like passport information, flight information, and
Mhm.
because I wasn't sure how much of that information would be accessible to my roommate,
Mhm.
I didn't enter it. But
Okay.
now that our profiles have been separated,
Mhm.
I can't enter that information into the system.
For
So
you or for your roommate?
For her.
for me,
For
once I
you.
select my name,
Uh-huh.
it's just blank. Nothing populates. So I don't know if that was an issue like on my side, or if that's an issue with the platform.
Okay, I'm taking a note, Sheila, because I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
And that's one of our topics for today, is we're going to actually go into detail about checking in and the kind of information that we need from you in preparation for this trip.
Okay.
So I'm just taking a note.
And I'll keep trying while we're online. And if I make it, then I'll just pop it in the chat.
Okay. Or you know what would be best? If you can just take a screenshot and send it to support at Tambor Cruise.
Support? Absolutely. Okay, I can do that.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, no problem. And we'll figure out what's going on with that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And Ayana, I see that you put your email address into the chat. So I'll take a note of that as well.
And Sonia's got a hand up.
Okay, Sonia, do you have a question?
Yes, a question and a comment. I went in yesterday to apply for the visa, and I just wanted to let people know that when you enter your, I don't know if you've covered this, so I apologize if you already have, but when you enter your address into the application, you have to end it with United States or whatever country you're coming from. Otherwise, it won't take. It doesn't take if you just end with a zip code. It doesn't take if you end with numbers for your address. And also my question then is, when it gets to the part that says host information, I wasn't sure about what I should put there, whether I should put the cruise or whether the hotel I didn't know who the host would be for the e-visa application.
Okay, that's a very valid question. Just so that we're all on the same page, I think we should probably just put the opening hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steinberger.
Yeah. And we'll send this out. I'll make sure it goes out on the newsletter for the that's coming out in a couple of days.
So we'll put all that information on an email to you, Sonia. Okay. While Jackie's writing, I just want to highlight someone on the call. I hate to put her on the spotlight, but one of the DJs that's going to be on the cruise is also on the chat today, Mickey Affleck. So she's going to be coming along and giving her musical talents and her energy on the cruise. So thanks very much for joining, Mickey, and we're looking forward to you sharing music with all of us on the cruise.
Thank you. You know, I'm a little
Shy.
heartbroken. No, that too, but trying to get Danielle, my traveling partner, has been really rough because it's from Aswan to JFK that we're having a problem with.
Or Aswan or Cairo.
Aswan to Cairo.
Okay,
So
we can sort that out for you, Mickey. Let's I'll call you afterwards and we'll sort that out. It's not a problem.
okay,
We'll get through that. Yeah.
And that's one of the
Don't be
topics.
heartbroken.
Yeah.
I am.
We want her to come just as much as you do. So we're gonna I'll call you directly after this. So
Okay.
Right.
okay.
And as we said, Mickey, just fill out the form that I sent to you via email.
If it's filled out and sent.
It was filled out. Danielle said it was filled
Okay.
out. I'm just still learning how to tie my shoes. So we gotta get on. We have got to get her on that trip.
Rest assured, as I mentioned in that email and the form, we are providing some assistance for the flight. So if it's either going to be a new schedule that's opened up with the airlines or a private chartered flight, but that's the reason we ask for that information so that we can
Filled it out.
get
Yeah.
the specific head count and take that back to the airline. Okay. We will have flights.
Now how do I unmute?
No.
Mickey, is there anything you want to say about coming on the trip?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I am. I'm really excited. I'm just excited.
You played with Tambor a few times, but not on the cruise. So it'll be I'm excited as well for you to be on the cruise, you know, to complete the whole Tambor journey.
It's okay. I'm excited, but you know, that other side of just looking there and just seeing my best friend. So it's bittersweet. I have to be honest.
Right.
It's bittersweet. I mean,
You're gonna come.
I was overjoyed that, you know, overjoyed. And then it was just like a deflate in my balloon. So until that circle is complete, I have to be honest. I'm excited about being amongst friends and family, but it's amongst friends. You know, I need to also be around my family. So
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll call you afterwards.
okay.
All right.
But I'm overjoyed. I did a production especially for the cruise. And I got 2 more that I have to finish. So I'm excited about that. And just excited about sharing that. I mean, this is like a lifetime, you know, thing to just be on a Nile with people celebrating music. Think about that. You know,
Yeah.
it's just not a cruise, but to be on a cruise with the music that we love, that it's amazing. So, you know, thank you for putting this together. And I do look forward to, you know, some of the faces I do know. So I'm looking forward to sharing that energy with you guys.
It's great.
With my traveling partner.
Yeah.
It's already done.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's get into some of today's topics. I'm going to share my screen. One moment. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, awesome. And is this visible for everyone? Or do I need to make it a little bit bigger? Thumbs up for bigger. Okay, I guess we're good. As I mentioned before, it is time to start checking in for all of the folks who have booked already. And by checking in, that just means confirming all of your accommodations and flight information.
And t-shirt sizes.
And t-shirt sizes. So for guests who have already booked, you can log into your account via the myeasel.com, and you'll use the email address that you used to book your reservation. But there are a couple of things that we need within the next week that need to be finalized. Okay, so we've noticed that some of you, for your guests, you have not updated the name of your guests. It may show, you know, your name in the primary booker name as well as the guest name. Okay, so you have to go in and actually put in your guest name as it is on their passport, as well as their email address and their passport details. Okay, and one of the reasons why, I think someone asked the question earlier, you know, why do I need to submit, you know, passport information and your flight details as well? So one of the services that we're providing is the airport pickup, and that also includes someone meeting you at the hotel, excuse me, at the airport, you know, to sort of guide you through the airport to the transportation pickup. So we have to have your information, one, for that, so they can be there to meet you on time, based on the time that you're coming in. All right. We also have to have the passport details because of the cruise that we're taking, right? So we have to have your passport, and your name and that sort of thing, just because you're taking the cruise. Like any other, you know, cruise, maybe through Royal Caribbean or some of the others, you have to provide your passport information, and that's no different. So please, 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 go into your account and update these details. The account is managed by our partner platform called Easel. All right, that's a secured website platform that does booking accommodations. Right, so that's not, you know, some random spreadsheet or anything like that. So yeah, we need you to go in for sure, update those critical pieces of information now in the next few days. And that's, you know, your name, your email address, your guest name and email address, you and your guest passport details, and then finalize, you know, your hotel and cabin accommodations. Now, for folks like Mickey, you're bringing a guest, you will have a separate account to do that, which is basically the form that you already filled out before. So I can resend that to you so you can just verify that all the information is there. And that's for like our artists or our staff who are bringing guests. But we just need to make sure those details are there. All of these changes or updates that we're asking for, they have to be in place by August 20th, right? We're also sharing them with, like I said before, the ship management staff, as well as our transportation, so they can have your flight details. And we need your t-shirt sizes so that we can get those ordered properly. If we don't get your t-shirt size, we're gonna default to a large.
Oh,
right? So make sure you update your t-shirt size in the account.
Jackie,
Huh?
it's not gonna work. Default to a small.
Extra small.
Maybe that's what we should do.
I noticed that the t-shirt size has only went up to extra large.
Really? It should be double X.
We didn't see that up.
You did not?
No.
Okay. I'll make a note. It should go up to double X.
Okay, so now Eric and I have already submitted our form, so we can't retrieve it now, right?
You can go back and change.
You mean into your easel account?
Yeah.
Yes. You can go back and update it.
Oh, okay.
I mistakenly put an asterisk by the email address. All of these fields that we have posted here, by August 20th, no more changes will be allowed for existing reservations. Okay, because we've got to place our final orders and, like I said, go back to the hotel and the ship and the transportation companies to make sure they have at least the people that have already booked. And if there are any new people, you know, we'll get them as they come in. All right. There will be emails coming out in the newsletter with the same information, please, 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 please confirm that you are receiving emails from info@tamborparty.com. If you are not receiving the newsletters, you need to ASAP let us know, okay? Because there's critical information that is coming, right? And some of it is related to the cruise, some of it may be related to offers, but right now we have to get these things updated and confirmed. So if you're not getting the newsletter, you know, let us know. As I mentioned earlier, if at one point you unsubscribe to the newsletter, right, we will not be able to send you communications. You have to go back in and resubscribe to the newsletter itself, okay? And we'll send out instructions on how to do that, because we've seen some people fall into that category. So we'll send instructions to those specific people that we know have unsubscribed, that are not getting messages about the cruise. Okay, so if you are booked on the cruise and you are not receiving emails, there's a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting emails, send an email to the mailbox at support@tamborcruise.com. If you've done all the, you know, the proper things to ensure you are getting the email. So check your spam folders. Make sure you've added info@tamborparty.com as a contact in your email account, to ensure that you're getting our emails. All right. So those are the first, you know, wave or phase of details that we need. Again, get your flight details as soon as possible. If you already know it, go ahead, right? And we can start sharing that information and getting you lined up with our travel company to ensure that when you land, somebody's going to be there to greet you on time, regardless of what time you land.
And the good thing about them meeting you when you land at Luxor is the fact that they'll fast track you through everything you need to do there. So getting your bags, they'll help you with your bags. They'll help you get out of the customs and the airport and lead you directly to the coach. So
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
Yes.
It's like a special VIP treatment, actually. I enjoyed it.
It was very helpful. And that's for Cairo and Luxor. Okay. So there are some fields in your account when you log in, where you have your name and email address and all that sort of thing. You should be able to update. You'll see fields for, you know, your Cairo arrival flight, your Luxor flight, your Aswan flight, you know, your return flight home. Put in all of the details, right? The date and time, the flight number. Like, don't do that kind of like haphazardly, you know, because that's the difference between someone being there and not when you arrive. All right. So as much as you know, put in everything, but for sure by the 20th, name, email address, passport details, cabin hotel accommodations, t-shirts, that sort of thing must be done by the 20th. And once we have that finalized, you can't make updates. Okay. Make sure your name is your name on your passport, not the name you want to be called, the name on your passport.
It also helps with checking in with the hotel as well. Your check-in process will be a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question again. I'm sorry, Sheila.
No problem. What's your question?
And again, the raise hand won't work. Okay, so I found the page. I went back to it and I clicked check and I posted my name and I was able to get access to the information to enter. However, it has my information and my roommate's information on the same page. And since I don't have her information, it won't allow me to save my information. It reads, you have to complete all of the fields.
Right. Yes, that's unfortunately that's a constraint with the platform. That's not anything to do with us.
Okay.
I'm not sure why they set it up that way. It does make it
Okay. So what do I do? I have to reach out to my roommate and we
Yes,
have to do it at the same time. Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay, I'll do that.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
That's a good point, Sheila, and we'll make a note too. That in order to make the update, you have to do it for both.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question
Mm-hmm.
for that. Hi.
Hi.
My roommate does not have flights yet.
Okay.
I have my flights and everything. So I did try to check in, and like she said, it won't let you save it. So do we need flight information? Or we just need the hotel information and the dates? Because my roommate has not even looked at a flight yet.
So flight information you do need based on what I was just mentioning, right? About the airport and all of that. But are you saying you can't even update your flight information without having hers?
I put my information in and his information, it won't allow me to save anything because I don't have all of his information. I can get it, but he doesn't have.
So I'm gonna do this, Yvette. I'm gonna go back to the platform because that's gonna make it very tedious and stretch this process even longer if we can't get those updates. Because we're constrained to having to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'll take a note. Okay. Any other questions? Was that it? Okay?
That was. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem. No, those are all good questions. Thank you for letting us know. Because otherwise we wouldn't. The other thing I put on there is the medical and liability release waiver. So that will be a form outside of easel that we will send out via the newsletter. But this is basically you just saying that, you and or your doctor has approved you to be able to go on this trip, that you're in good health to do so, and that we're not liable if, you have any sort of health challenges while on the trip. Okay, and that's very important as well, because we do want to ensure that everyone, can sustain themselves on this trip. And that's something only you and your doctor can confirm. That's not something that we can do, right? And we wanted to do it a little further out because we know things change in terms of people's health conditions, so we're asking for that in September, right? Dietary notes also, if you're, have allergies to dairy or whatever.
Vegan.
You need to put those in your dietary notes, okay? Because we have to plan for that before we get there.
They're pretty good at accommodating to people's diets. So they just want to know, how many people that are vegan or vegetarian or gluten-free, so that they can prepare for your meals.
Yes.
So you don't sit there and eat lettuce every day, basically.
Right.
So.
And also know, if you put that you're vegan and you get there and you see that the fish looks really tasty, okay, you won't be able to do both. Okay. You will have to stick to that vegan plan, because they more than likely will have to do a custom menu for those that do have dietary concerns, right? Because the majority of people that are, visiting these hotels and taking these cruises, they're not vegan or have, diet. So they cater to the masses, right? So we just want to make sure that we have those notes.
I think it will more or less be the other way. I think that if someone is like a meat eater and they see the vegan menu and they think, oh, let me just have some of that vegan food today, that's when we say, try not to do that because the food has been specifically made for the number of people who are vegan. So if you're not vegan, don't eat from the vegan menu.
Okay. All right, so we talked about the waiver, dietary. So payments, all payments are due September 15th, 2023. Like that's the due date. That's the cutoff. You know, earlier in the call, there were some folks that booked last week and the payment schedule had not been updated in the platform. So we have to go back on the back end to remedy that. But all payments are due by September 15th. You know, that's what's in our terms and conditions and on the website as well. We just had the misstep of not updating that on the payment schedule. All right. So yes, all payments are due on the 15th. On the 15th, whether you're on a payment plan or you're paying in full, on the 15th. Okay. And lastly, there's a note just to make sure you update your emergency contacts. So if something happens to you, who do we contact? Ideally, it should be someone, you know, that is accessible and not on the trip with you, right? So, because theoretically, if the person is on the trip with you, they'll already be with you. So if there's someone stateside or some other country, mom, partner, whatever, make sure you put that contact information in your easel account. Okay. Are there any questions? I see some new chats. Why is it not coming? Okay. Okay. Any questions?
You can't see because the chat's reduced.
Okay.
You
So
can't see if someone's got their hand up.
does anybody have a hand up? Demetrius, are there any questions?
None that I can see.
Okay. All right. Coolio. So with that, I just want to do a time check. We're at 1:55. I'm going to go over the itinerary just a little bit. Oh, before I do that, I want to mention about the flight assistance. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. So there are some, we've heard from our guests that some of you are still having difficulty getting flights from Aswan to Cairo. So for those who may not know, we are doing a 7-night, 8-day event that starts in Luxor. So it starts in Luxor, and that, well, we'll get into the itinerary. It starts in Luxor, but essentially we end in Aswan. So you have to take a flight into Luxor, and then at the end, a flight from Aswan to Cairo. And some of you have let us know that you're having difficulties booking that last flight. So what we have done while we were in Egypt, we went to the airlines, we met with some private charter airlines as well, not just the commercial ones, to see if we can either get them to open up a new schedule, or we charter a private flight from Aswan to Cairo. So we have both of those options. But what it requires us to do is get the specific head count of the people who need flights. Okay. So if you need that flight, if you have not been able to book one, right, there is a form that you can fill out. I'm going to put it in the chat right now, right, to let us know that you want flights or you want assistance, right? And we're working with the airline directly to get that flight accommodation, right? That also means that once they release the schedule or the chartered flight, you have to book immediately. Okay, we've put the price ranges of the flights into the form as well, just to give you some idea of how much it may cost. But we need that information. We've actually asked for it by the end of day tomorrow, Monday. We've been, we've had the form out there for about 2 weeks now. So we just wanted to, go ahead and give a quote back to the airlines. So if you think that's something that you need, or that you need it, please go ahead and fill out that form. Do not wait. Okay? Is there a question? Any questions?
Go ahead.
Jack, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, somebody else is talking.
No, go ahead.
Hi, Jackie, it's Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi. You said that you'll know about this flight tomorrow. You should have some information because I'm not gonna book the rest of my flights until I know about this one. Because
What I said is, I understand your reservation, but what I said is that we need all of the people who need flights to have those details confirmed by tomorrow. We've already been talking with the airlines, right?
okay, no, I sent in the information to you.
Into the form, right?
Right, the form.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So my question is, when do you think you'll have an answer from whomever you're talking to?
So
about-
we've given our guests until tomorrow to fill out the form. We'll collate all of that information and give it back to the airline. Right? So they have to, so that'll be Tuesday. It is Egyptian time, so it's 7 hours ahead. So I
Right.
would say realistically, that would probably be Thursday before we can get a final, right? Because they're gonna base, especially, there are two things, right? One, the airline can open up a new schedule and then we can just go out there and book
Mhm.
a commercial flight, no different than what you would do today.
Right.
The second option is we do a private charter flight, which means it is just a flight for Tambor Cruise, right? Which also means that we pay for the entire plane and people have to go ahead and book it immediately as well. So we have to have a specific head count so that we can give that to the airline so that they can give us the quote.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're talking about Thursday, somewhere around Thursday or so. Okay.
Yes. I'll at least have an update to send out. But I don't know what their process is. They've asked us for the specific passenger names and head count, times and that sort of thing. So that I'll give that to them and see what they give us back in terms of a quote and when they can release the schedule.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Jackie, regarding that, I sent in a form, but you can, I guess, remove my name for the list because I have since booked the flight.
And who's speaking? I'm sorry, I can't.
Sorry, it's Leslie.
Leslie, okay. So I can take you
Leslie-
off?
Leslie and Eric, yes, you could remove
Okay.
us.
Thank you for letting me know, because that does impact the price.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I just have to say, Leslie and Eric are my parents' names. So I'm just feeling more affinity towards making this happen. That was really prophetic,
How
Leslie.
cute. Is that Ayana speaking?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm sitting here listening,
wow.
I'm like, those are my parents. And yeah, it's really prophetic. So Michelle, thank you for that.
Wow. Okay, Ayana. All right. So we talked about flight assistance. We have a few more minutes. I'm gonna just open up the itinerary. If you've noticed, it is posted on the website, on the Tambor Cruise website at the very bottom of the homepage. We're actually gonna create a page just for the itinerary, just to make it a bit more visible. But right now it's on the homepage at the very, very bottom. And you may have to just make sure your browser has completely uploaded, like refreshed, because sometimes it'll be a little slow on some of the images, but it is at the very bottom of the homepage, which is tamborcruise.com. Okay. So we have a few minutes left. So the itinerary. So as I mentioned, we have 8 days in Egypt. We start in the beautiful Luxor, where we'll have all of our guests must fly into Luxor. We ask that you be there by the 22nd of October, ideally by noon. Okay, and the reason that we say that or ask that is if you get to Luxor by noon, that will give you an opportunity to be picked up, taken to the hotel, check in, and be ready for the meet and greet that starts at 2 p.m. And all of these times are in local Egyptian time, by the way. So yeah, you want to get to the airport landed by noon to be able to accommodate that. As we've said before, you'll have an escort at the airport to kind of guide you through that process and take you to the transportation coach, and of course to the hotel. We will have a meet and greet. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to not only just get checked in for the event, but also meet other guests, maybe for the first time if you haven't met them virtually, already know them, and just really get invited into the space. And that first night will open with our dinner reception opening party. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Stan?
For the opening party?
Yes, the opening party.
Okay, just it's going to be the first party of the whole series of the experience. And I'm not going to say who the DJs are, but it's going to be something special. I mean, it's going to be something special every night because all the DJs have been carefully handpicked, and not all of them are personal friends of mine. So the opening party will be a chance for you to just shake off all the travel experience that you've had and just relax with some good music. And the party is going to be at this hotel called the Steinberger, which is actually directly on the Nile. So you can actually touch the Nile from this hotel, and the event's going to be outdoors. It's going to be on grass, and it's going to be directly after your dinner. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be outdoors under we're going from sun to moonlight on the Nile. So it's going to be a great experience. So I'm looking forward to it.
As we all are. So that's our first opening day and night of the experience. And then on day 2, we actually moved to the boat. So we picked up by coach on day 2 after we have our breakfast and check out, and moved to the ship itself where we'll check in and get our room assignments and our luggage moved to our private cabins. This is also where we would pay for our gratuities. Gratuities are not included for the ship. They're only requiring $40 per person for gratuities, which is very low considering. But we would pay them, each person would pay them as they get their room assignments.
And just to add, once you leave the hotel in Luxor and you take your luggage down to the foyer of the hotel, you won't see your luggage again until you get to your room.
Yeah.
On the ship. Okay, because they'll handle all your luggage, and we'll have tags for you to put on your bag so you know what room you're going, what cabin you're going in, and they'll handle all your luggage for you.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about, carrying your luggage down onto the boat or anything like that. They'll do it all for us. We'll also have some guidance about gratuity. Some folks have asked, how much is, a tip worth? And we're talking outside of the ship. We're talking, if you're at the airport and there's someone who's helping you with your bags, or the escort who's helping you through customs, or if we're going on excursions or that sort of thing, if you want to tip the tour guide. So we'll have some loose guidelines on, you know, what gratuities would be appropriate. The exchange rate is $1 US for every 30 Egyptian pounds. So $1 goes a long way. And we just want to be, hospitable. Everyone that, since we've gone twice, has always been so accommodating and helpful. And we just want to be giving in that way as well. Okay. So after we've checked into the boat, we will also have our first day of excursions where we go to Karnak and Luxor temples. Those are two beautiful major temples of Luxor, and we'll do that right after lunch. And it's going to be quite exciting as well. And then we'll come back and we'll have dinner on the boat, and we'll have our first Tambor party. Okay.
On the boat.
On the boat that evening. So it's a nice itinerary for the first 2 days already. And then for the next 4 days, we will be on someone, if you're not muted, please mute yourself. So where are we? Oh, we're on day 3 now. So we'll be on the boat for day 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And our mornings on the boat will start with a wellness activation that we're doing called Nourish. And Nourish is really an opportunity for you to kind of start your day with some various programs that we'll have around yoga, meditation, breath work. But again, it's just a way for you to kind of start your day with some stillness and just kind of processing all that you've been going through. So that's a segment that we'll have on the boat, as well as when we get to Aswan. And you'll see from the itinerary that's even posted on the website, our high-level itinerary is, Nourish in the morning, breakfast, excursions, lunch, party, dinner, another party, right? And so we'll have some wellness, other programs outside of that on those days as well. But that's our general schedule, right? We get up, we start the day with a little bit of stillness, have some breakfast, go on some excursions. We may have some in the evening as well. But as you'll see, we'll have those excursions and then our meals and then party. Okay. And I just want to be mindful of time because we have about 4 more minutes. And so that's our itinerary on the boat pretty much. And when we get off on day 6, we'll be transported to our hotel, which is a beautiful hotel resort on a private island. It's 8 acres of lush green on a private island in the middle of the Nile River. So it's, adjacent to the downtown landscape, as well as the tombs of the nobles, which is a huge monument where the nobles, like the priests who supported the kings and pharaohs, where they were buried. And so it's just a lovely backdrop, more than lovely. It's quite grounding when you take it all in. And then on that day 6, we'll also have some downtime. So we'll have some optional excursions set up. Say you want to go do some shopping. We highly suggest that you wait to do your shopping until the end. And the reason we say that is because when we're out and about, you're going to see, all kinds of vendors as we're going on excursions, and they're going to solicit you to buy. And a lot of it is the same. So you just want to kind of just start to feel what you really want. And then on Friday, we'll have guides who can actually take us to the market to help us shop, which is a tremendous help in terms of, bartering and ensuring you're not, being overpriced.
Yeah, get used to negotiating and bartering for what you want to buy, because it's part of the culture over there. So whatever price they give you, always go lower. Don't go higher. Always
Yeah.
go lower, and don't accept the first price they give you.
Yeah.
Dre's got a hand up.
Okay, Jere, you have a hand raised?
Hi there. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Stan.
Hi, Dre.
Hi.
Okay, so at some point, maybe not on this call, are there any particular customs that we should be aware of?
Yes. So on our next call, we'll talk more about navigating and preparing for the journey.
Okay.
Egypt. But yeah, we'll talk about some of the customary and sort of cultural things, and, you know, just some suggestions on how to dress when we go to the temples and whatnot. For the most, tourists wear whatever they want to wear, but you know,
They're very lenient with
Yeah,
tourists.
yeah.
So, you know, you could act yourself pretty much without really offending anyone. But, you know, just to be respectful, there are some clothing
yeah.
things that you should take into consideration. But for the most part, as a tourist, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Like I said, on Friday afternoon, we'll have a catered lunch at the hotel. And after that, you pretty much have your free time to do some other things. You know, going out to the market. There's also a lovely felucca ride, which is a traditional Egyptian sailboat that goes out to a Nubian village, where you can get some, you know, local Egyptian hand cooked food. And then dinner, you're on your own on that. This would be Friday night. And you could have the option, there's a extra excursion as well that night. So Friday, you have some downtime, kind of taking in the hotel resort, which is a beautiful property. You can go out and venture into the city, do some shopping and some of the other optional excursions. And then this should say, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to update this. Day 7, which is Saturday, which is the night of the grand finale. We will start the day with our Nourish Wellness activation, which will be right at the Nile River. Have our breakfast. Again, you can do some optional excursions. And then that late afternoon, we'll be preparing for the grand finale party. Okay, and then Sunday morning, breakfast will be available. And this is where we'll say our farewells and check out, and folks will start, you know, going to the airport. Okay.
Any questions at all on any of that?
I had a question.
Okay.
Oh, it's Leslie. The day of checkout, being that our flight is not until 3 a.m. the following morning. Well, actually, the flight leaving Aswan departs at 8 p.m. Will there be a place for us to leave our luggage?
Yeah.
Yes. So what we've been told is that you can leave your luggage at the hotel. So if you want to go out during the day, you can do that and leave your luggage at the hotel. And then before it's time to take off for your flight.
Okay. Now, are there things around the hotel that we could maybe visit or anything during that time?
Yeah, so those optional excursions I was mentioning, they're right around the hotel. So the hotel is on an island, but it's only like a 4 or 5 minute ferry ride to get to, you know, either downtown Aswan, which is, you know, you can see it. You'll be able to see it. And you take a quick ferry ride over, right? So if you want to go out to the markets, the souks, we also have some excursions set up for that.
Okay.
So you can go with one of the guides instead of going by yourself. There's also the Nubian village. So that area of Aswan is known as more of Nubian Egypt, which are the people who look
Like us?
you know, the art, the culture, it's very beautiful. So you can do that as well. Of course, there are other temples around. Like I mentioned, the tombs of the noble will be facing those. So if you want to take a ferry over there and visit those as well, or you can stay on the property ground. It's 8 acres. It's beautiful. If you just want to sit by the river, there's an option too for Friday and Saturday. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There was someone with a.
Was there any question?
There's a guy with a question.
Yeah, there was just one question that I had. This is Chris. Hi, everyone. I was just a little confused about the connecting flight from Aswan to Cairo. Is Cairo the destination because that's where return departures to the US are going to be leaving from?
Yes. So Cairo is the major international airport in Egypt. And for international flights from North America, they're all routed through Cairo, right? You can't get to Luxor without having to first stop in Cairo and going through customs.
Okay, so anyone leaving the US is going to arrive in Cairo and then departing, they're going to be departing from Cairo.
Correct.
Right. But your flight departing will be from Aswan to Cairo to the US.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. These are all good questions. Is there someone else that may have a question or a thought? Is there someone dialed in that has a question? Okay.
Okay. Let's wrap it up.
All right. So with that, as I mentioned, next week we'll be talking about, how to prepare for the journey to Egypt, and that includes things like how to navigate the airport experience, as well as preparing for more of the cultural aspects of Egypt. Okay, and we'll continue to go over some of these same topics around what's due and what things you need to update and that sort of thing from call to call. This live discussion will be posted on our YouTube page in the next day or so. So if you want to share that with others who may be interested, feel free to do so. We're still offering a referral commission to anyone who's already booked that wants to invite a family or loved one. Some of you have already taken advantage of that, but essentially it's $200 per guest who books. Okay, because we want to go ahead and sell out the rest of our tickets. So if you have someone that's interested and when they pay in full, we will give you $200 per guest. Okay. And that's just an incentive for our guests who've already booked. Okay.
Thanks very much
So
for everyone for joining. Oh, Bernice has got a question.
Oh, Bernice, do you have a question? Oh, she's clapping. She's clapping.
Oh.
Thank you, Bernice. Yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to send an email to our support mailbox, which is support@tamborcruise.com. I mentioned before, sign up for our newsletter. If you unsubscribed before, make sure you do subscribe so that you're getting all of our communications. You want to make sure that you're getting our emails from info@tamborparty.com. I also posted our Facebook page in the chat, as well as a private group that's coming out. Or I'm sorry, it's already out, and we'll start sending invitations to that for anyone who's already booked. Okay. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Peace and love.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.